Anita, the book The Big But is such a fantastic read, and we've been doing this podcast series all about it. One of the things that it covers throughout the book is with the main character, and is dipping in and out of relationships and sort of sorting out in their mind about love and relationships. What does Law of Attraction say about that, and how can it help?
Love is a difficult one. I've got to admit, it's one I've not had a lot of success with in the past. However, that is all about to change because I've requested it from my archer. So I've opened myself up to the possibility, and I think that's what people have to do. They have to open themselves up to the possibility of it. And there's many reasons why people haven't found the one or their person. And it could come down to negative self-talk. It could come down to opinions of others. It could come down to fear of not making the right choices or the right decisions. But I think there's a great quote by Lao Tzu, which is, being loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. And I think to fall in love, you have to be quite courageous, because ultimately, if you truly, truly love this person, at some point, one of you is going to lose the other. And so it does take a lot of courage, but ultimately, it comes down to self-worth and believing that you are lovable, you're loving, and that you are loved. And you'd be surprised how many times you walk around a corner and you might meet somebody that isn't a great fan of yours, but you could walk around another corner and you could meet somebody who thinks you're awesome, amazing.
So what stops us finding love, do you think, then?
I think what stops us finding love, interestingly, I had a conversation with a friend over this very subject at lunchtime, and it comes down to self-worth, self-esteem, which we've covered in another podcast, another episode. Acceptance of who we are and our situation. As we get older, we change. So acceptance of who we are now, and also being open to the possibility of it. I think it's all too easy to have excuses, and quite often doubts can be excuses. Love is for the young. Rubbish. You see people in their 70s, 80s meeting someone, falling in love and getting married. So I think it's not having the doubts, not attaching any buts when we think about love, just being open to the possibility of it and trusting that your archer is going to bring you the right person for you. And more importantly, it's focusing on the feelings of love. In the book, Jack the Archer is talking to the main character and reminds them that they do know what it feels like to be in love. It's adding that emotion to the thought again. And Jack explains that it's that feeling when you see their name on your phone, it makes your face light up. When they leave and you immediately want to rush after them and pull them back because you're just missing them so much. So that's what you need to focus on with love. It's focusing on the feelings of being in love, the feelings of having that security of that person that is your person. So once you have the thought, attach the emotion to it, sit back and wait.
Of course, love extends to friends and family and relations as well, doesn't it?
The thing is, you with friends and family, it can be tricky because there is a saying that you choose your friends, you can't choose your family. And we have to be protective of our energy. I'm all for giving out my energy, whether people want it or not. Sometimes it's too much. I have a friend who's very much of an introvert. So they identify, I know people don't like labels, but they do identify as an introvert. whereas I'm definitely more of an extrovert. And the way we describe our relationship is that I start my day with my battery empty, and every social interaction charges my battery. So by the end of the day, I'm buzzing. He starts his day with his battery full, and every social interaction reduces his battery down. So after we've had coffee or lunch and we've been chit-chatting, or I've been chit-chatting about things, he normally needs to go for a lie down to recover, because...
Not a reflection on you, I
No,
hope.
no. I've just taken all his energy away from him. So, but there are people that are... there's a terminology called energy vampires, and in the training that I used to do, we would call them radiators or drains. I don't know if you've heard of that terminology before, but you've got people who are the radiators, who glow, who bring you the energy and make you feel warm and fuzzy, and then you've got the drains who just pull energy from you. And actually, in the book, one of the comparisons is that the main character, after a negative lunch with a friend that makes them feel down and a bit disappointed with their life, the first thing they do is go and buy a chocolate bar to cheer themselves up and make them feel a bit better. But it's hard, addressing this. How do you remove negative people from your life, especially if they're family or they're friends that have been friends of yours for 10, 20, 30 years? It can be difficult, but all I would say is you're important. Your energy is important and your life is important. So sometimes it can seem like a big decision to make, but just be selective with who has your energy. It's a really powerful, valuable asset that you have.
And I think, am I right in saying that friends, family, relationship, obviously some you can choose, some you can't, but other more, partners in life and things like that. Is it that they take the energy away for now, but they'll come back in? They can come back into your life later. It seems to me as though that might be reasonable. So, not now, but later.
Absolutely. Sometimes I think you just need to be like Ross and Rachel in Friends and on a break. We're just on a break, and I know that sometimes a person seems to be a friend, but other people might warn you that they're not, and you don't want to believe that. So you will sort of carry on being friends with that person. But actually, when you take a break from them and you kind of analyse what they've said to you or how they've treated, you realise, actually, were they ever a friend? Or was I fulfilling a purpose or a need for them rather than for me? And another thing I think with relationships is there's a saying that comparison is the thief of joy. And all too often we compare our relationships with other people's relationships and decide whether they should be, my relationship isn't like this person's, or it isn't like this person's relationship. If it feels good to you, that's all that matters.
And this theme of relationships goes all the way through the book. I think it's absolutely fantastic the way in which you've stitched it through the book. So what would be the key sort of takeaways around love and relationship with respect to the book and law of attraction?
I think we have to remember sort of with relationships is that people are looking through their own filters, and I've mentioned this before, and some filters are a bit clogged up and a bit muddy. So some people have quite jaded views about relationships or have different views about love, and I think you have to... It's always great to seek someone's opinion, but an opinion is just that. And it's whether you give any value to that opinion, whether you trust the opinion of the person, whether you trust the person who's giving that opinion. And ultimately, you just have to make your own decision about whether, this is the right relationship for you. And the way I like to think of it is that I'm on a path, I'm on a journey, and the road might turn to the left or turn to the right. Now, my road is coming up to a bend and it's on the right. The person for me is coming up their road and they're about to turn to the left. And when they do that, we're going to meet. And isn't that a lovely thought for anyone that's single out there? You just need to go round the bend and you'll find the right person.
In the nicest possible way.
In the
It's
nicest
another
possible
twist, and I
way.
love about this talking with you, Anita, is it's another twist around the law of attraction and the Big Butt book, which is really essential reading in my view. It's available everywhere, I'm guessing Amazon and...
Yes, the book is on Amazon, it's on Apple Books and Barnes & Noble Nook, I believe. And also on the LOA Hub site, there are some other resources for people. There's a workbook to help you work through any limiting beliefs that you may have about being able to attract love or be deserving of love. There's some ebooks as well, and there's some free resources, lots to help you just improve your life. And if you have got a great life, that's wonderful. I'd really love to know how you achieved it so that we can share it with other people.
I think that's important too. Anita Forelli, thank you very much. We've got much more to talk about and we'll do that in another podcast.
Thank you.